So let me guess, you're young and you're driven to become successful like me, and if that's right, then you are the right audience. Now, there's two reasons I'm making this video. Number one reason is to kind of realign or help you realign your mindset and give you, a few things that kind of help me to keep going no matter what happens, no matter what happens in the day, no matter how many sales I've had, no matter, anything like that, just helps me to sort of keep my mind on the go and just keep in line. And the second reason is also to look back on in the future, because a few things I'm going to touch on in this video are kind of like something I can look back on when I've actually made it, and it's going to be like, something really cool to look at, to know that I was speaking about this kind of stuff at this point. So first things first then is obviously you don't want to be relying on motivation. You want to have discipline, and a way you can build discipline is, you can build it up over a few things. So if you're watching this and you work out, that's one way, a good way to build discipline. That's personally how I built my discipline in the first place. Because, I've told my story a few times on here, but, I was fat and then I was underweight. And then basically from that point, I then started working out and stuck with it. And the discipline kind of came from that because, when I was working out, having to, go every day, turn up and lift weights, stuff like that, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy to like start eating again and try and gain weight. But I built the discipline and I did it. And then, I've made some good progress, which I'm really happy with. And then that kind of then led me on to business, obviously, hence why, I'm sitting here making the video right now, because of that choice. So the discipline there helped me get to here. And then another bit of discipline carried through for me because I started a clothing brand. Now, the first ever business that you start is your best opportunity to build discipline. And what I mean by that is this clothing brand is, it's the first time me and my business partner at the time had ever had kind of any experience posting videos on social media in like return or in hope of actually getting sales. We'd never sold products online. We'd never done anything like that, ran a brand. It was just a full like jump in the deep end. We were like 15 and just, jumped into the deep end with it. And basically, sales, there wasn't like, well, there was a few sales, but it took like a year of just no sales. It was literally all just inputs, just full inputs. And that really helped me, even though you might I might look back at that, you might look back at it and you think, this guy went a whole year running a clothing brand and it was just a waste of time because he just made no money with it. But in my eyes, it's not a waste of time at all because that is what built my fundamental discipline, which I have now, which helps me through like day-to-day business life. And the reason for that is because not making money for that long, but putting in so much input gets you used to this thing because, as we all know, business is not all fun and games. If you're a beginner, then that is something you're going to learn very soon. It's not all fun and games, right? It can be when things are going right, but it's not always going to be going right because, there's building phases, there's, the grind, everything like that. It's all part of being successful. And that, like all of this as well, is another thing I'm going to sort of touch on a little bit. You need to be grateful for all of the struggle that you're having because number one is so many people that are successful, I've heard, they say, the actual like journey to becoming successful is like the best part of life. It's like your parents saying that school's the best part of life. You don't really like think that, you don't agree with them until that, you kind of leave. And that's when they kind of say it. And then you do kind of miss it a bit. And I'm guessing that's exactly how these, the people who've actually made it are feeling about the journey. And that is something I really keep in mind as well, because I know that this journey, this, the path to success, it's going to be a lot more worth it when, you look back at it and you think, I did all this to get here today. I'm grateful for my past self. That's something you want to be for. You want to be grateful for this as well. For the number two reason is if this struggle didn't exist, if this, if there wasn't these times where you felt like nothing was working, if there wasn't these times where you're having to grind and just put in all the inputs and getting like hardly any outputs, which has happened to me so many times, by the way, and it still continues to happen because I haven't perfected my like craft yet. I haven't perfected what I do yet, and that's just going to take a little bit more time, more consistency in the game and just keep going, keep learning and keep trying new things. But you want to be grateful for it because if this didn't exist, then this is the only hard part, right? This is the hard part. The hard part about running business, the hard part about like becoming successful and like hitting new goals and milestones is that part where you have to do the building phase. You have to grind. You have to just say no to things, you know. You have to say no to instant gratification and focus solely on delayed gratification. And that's not always easy, you know. You got to build a good mindset to be able to make that more bearable or more easy in sense. And like I said earlier in the video, the discipline, that's kind of where it all came from. But you just got to understand, right, that this hard times, these hard times that you face, the hard times that you struggle with, just be grateful, because that is the reason why like 99% of people don't make it, in a sense, because, you know, it takes a lot to get through that. It takes a lot to be able to cope with, you know, the times where you just work in loads and loads and loads and then you just getting no return from it, where, you know, you're having to miss out on sleep because you're grinding on something. It's just so, like, you know, there's so many times where this can happen, and you just got to be grateful for it, because this is like all part of the journey. And I'm still grateful for having these moments. Like, you know, even when I pray, I also include this. I'm grateful for having these moments, because I know that it's going to make me into the person that I want to be, because money doesn't make you as a person, right? The journey to getting the money is what makes you as a person. And I was literally thinking earlier, I was thinking like, if I hadn't started a business and I'd gone down the route of like getting a job, because if I hadn't started a business or anything, I probably would have had a part-time job or something right now. And I think if I had done that, if I'd gone down that path, I think I'd be a lot, like, much different person to what I am now, as if I'd done that instead. And that's another thing about choices as well, you know. You have to be really, really, like, you have to sort of take risks in life, because starting a business and going like a different route, you know, if your family isn't really very business orientated, they haven't really, you know, if your family is just like, don't really support you too much, maybe. Luckily, I've got like a really supportive family. Obviously at times it has been a little bit, you know, especially because I do organic dropshipping, right? And if you don't know what organic dropshipping is, just go check out like my other videos and stuff. But well, the concept of it is basically drop shipping, but without the paid ads. It's just like, you know, organic traffic. But point is, some of, like, especially at the start when I'd hardly made any money, some of the videos you have to record with some of the products that are out there, you know, some of the craziest, like, most ridiculous products have made money, like lots of money before. And sometimes if you're filming these videos and, you know, you just like, I don't know, you got some random toy that you're filming, and, you know, your parents find it really weird. And I don't know, obviously, if that can relate to other businesses. Maybe it can, maybe it can't. But the point is, if your parents haven't like really experienced this, or haven't really like looked at the kind of the business side of things, it can be very like sort of scary to them, because if they're like, you know, they want to protect you, they want to make sure you have a good future, and you've said, no, I want to take my own path, I want to take this risk and start this, it can be really risky. So you just got to understand that sometimes you got to take these risks, because that is what sets people apart. And like I say, I wouldn't have been on this journey if I hadn't sort of taken that risk, if I hadn't sort of like, you know, just decided I want to start this because it's a passion. Because I actually, like, me and two other friends, and one of them was my business partner, had the idea of the clothing brand whilst we were in school. And instead of just like having the idea, because, you know, we've had ideas before about businesses, we've had ideas about like starting, you know, selling drinks in school, stuff like that, like so many different things. But if we had the idea, and literally the same night we acted upon it, which is another thing that comes to mindset, right? If you say you're going to do something, you know, maybe you came up with an idea, maybe with your friends you came up with an idea, act on it straight away. That's why it's useful as well. I've got right here next to me. I can't really show you it because obviously it's going to reveal some of my products for my business. But I've got right next to me my to-do list. And this is part of doing what you say you are going to do. So you actually act upon the things you say you're going to do. Because this to-do list right here, I've got a bunch of tasks on here, and I can guarantee you that these tasks, at least the main ones anyway, that have to get done, are going to get done. And that just trains your brain to think, okay, so I've actually said, I've set out and agreed that I'm going to do this task, so I'm going to get it done. It's like last night, right? I was feeling really tired. It was really late. You know, hadn't been the most productive day, not going to lie. I did have college and everything as well, so that doesn't help. But basically it was really late and I had college today as well, so I was thinking, oh, you know, I need to try and get to bed a little bit early, stuff like that. But I still had tasks on my to-do list to do, so I thought, if I go to bed now, I'm just going to be training my brain to think, okay, it's okay to just go to sleep early because, you know, you need to. There's a few tasks left, but it's okay, we'll do them tomorrow. No, I just didn't let that happen. So instead of letting that happen, I literally just got those tasks done instead. And, you know, I feel better for it, and I feel, you know, it gains on your mindset, even though, like, these small choices that you make in life, whether it can be something like that, or whether it can be something, you know, even more, like, a larger choice, anything like that, you got to understand that these also contribute to your mindset, and your mindset is one of the most important things. Many people say as well, which I agree with, business is 99%, or not 99%, sorry, business is 90% mindset, and the work is the 10%, because if you can't believe in yourself to do the work, it's going to be a lot harder to do the work in order to get to your goals and dreams. Whereas if you can believe in yourself fully, you know, if you know that you're going to be successful, right, you have that ego as such, in a way, you know, you have that high ego, you have that high level of belief in yourself, the work's going to become easy. The work's the easier part, and that's why it is 90% business, 90% mindset and 10% work, because once you get your mindset in the right place, once you understand, okay, I am going to make this, it's just a matter of time and a matter of me putting in the work that needs to be done, the work becomes the 10% because it's so much easier. So kind of all I want to say for this video, in fact, actually, there's one more thing. If they can do it, we can do it. Or in sense, if they can do it, I can do it. And you can obviously say that for your own self. And what I mean by that is, if you're watching this video, then you've definitely seen a lot of other, like, young entrepreneurs out there who are making tons of money online. I'm in a Discord community myself, and, you know, even when times are slow for me, like, you know, I'll be looking at my sales, I'm like, I'm not too, you know, too impressed with this. But, and then, you know, even sometimes you still have, like, these doubts in your mind. Even when you've, like, built a good mindset, you still have, like, these doubts sometimes. And the way to fight through them is by, you know, using your discipline. That's why it's important. But then I'll just go in the Discord, I'll go in the wins section, and there is literally people, like, making 66,000 a month doing the same thing as me. And that, you know, it's hard to then not think, you know, I need to get my act together. It's hard to not think that when you've seen that from someone. And if you can put yourself in a position where you can do something like that as well, you know, every business out there has a community, right? There's someone who holds a community for every business. If you do e-com like me, there's a lot of, you know, e-com communities out there. And it's really important to just get yourself around that, because, you know, you can look at other people's wins and just think, if they're doing that, then so can I. You know, what do they have? What advantages do they have over me that I can't, you know, use? And especially with organic, there's not really an advantage you can have. I mean, obviously, the only advantage you can have, maybe you've got like a nice house, maybe you've got a nice apartment, you've got stuff like this, but that's no advantage, right? You can still make money without having that nice apartment, nice house, and then you can use the money to buy one. There's no disadvantage, right? And like I say, if you do organic dropshipping as well, then this is more niche to you, but there's no disadvantage or advantage that you can have, really, when it comes to it. It's all based on your mindset. If you can just believe that you can go and film that, you know, amazing video, you can go and do this, do that, then that's what you need to do, right? That, you know, you need to just act upon the task as soon as you kind of set it. So this video is a little bit longer than I thought it was going to be, but again, it's a documentary for me, and any of you who've watched till the end as well, you know, I really appreciate it, and I hope you've also took some value from this, because I've found it value just speaking about it. But yeah, thank you for watching. I'm going to be posting, you know, kind of consistently. It's obviously it's a few posts a week now. I don't really see any point just like bombarding daily posts. Maybe I'll do it more in the future when you know, there's anything like really crazy going on. But other than that, you know, I just sort of post videos and just speak to the camera about what I want to speak about and what I kind of have on my mind at the time. So again, if you've enjoyed this video, then, you know, great. Please consider subscribing if you want to follow more of the journey. But I will see you in the next video.